responsible, and they are trying to shift the blame on everybody else except them. They are putting the blame on the police officers, they're putting the blame on Karnataka State Cricket Association, the RCB team, but the BJP making it clear that the fault of this lies with the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister, and they're demanding their resignation.
Absolutely, Krishna. Ashwath Narayan, while speaking right now, has categorically said that what was the need of the Deputy Chief Minister to go to the airport? And the Deputy Chief Minister did not even know who the captain of the RCB team was, and he was seen everywhere with regards to the celebration. If such a celebration, then they was seen how different states had done it. So the opposition leader has been saying the same thing in one voice since the time this entire thing has happened, and the demand for resignation of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and the Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar is only rising in Karnataka. The opposition has also pointed out how, despite the fact that there was no proper arrangement, they went ahead, they got carried away by the momentum of IPL and the RCB team's victory. And that is why they wanted to get involved in it. They should have seen how different states have done the celebration, and they should have followed that if they don't know how it can be done. Doing it immediately was something that was not required. And right now, the only way the government can wash its hands of this is by making sure that the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister resigns, is what Ashwath Narayan has said. And he's been saying this relentlessly since the time we've seen this incident come to light, Krishna.
Mohammad Wajula, they are getting us the latest on the RCB stampede case from Bengaluru. Thank you, Vaji, for joining us with that update. Now, the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha and Congress party's leader, Rahul Gandhi, has intensified his attack on the election body over transparency in the process. He has urged the Election Commission to release consolidated digital voter rolls and post CCTV footage post 5 p.m. from Maharashtra's polling booths. Earlier, the poll panel dismissed Rahul Gandhi's allegations of match fixing in the 2024 Maharashtra State Assembly elections. The Election Commission termed it vague and completely absurd, issuing a point-by-point rebuttal to the Congress MP's voter fraud allegations. And Rahul Gandhi, in an opinion piece, bear in mind, had alleged that the voter lists were inflated with fake voters in last year's Maharashtra elections, and the Election Commission has dismissed Rahul Gandhi's match-fixing claims, stating that the entire voting process was conducted transparently with polling agents from all political parties present. And that's the response coming in from the Election Commission in response to Rahul Gandhi, who has intensified his attack on the Election Commission over transparency in the election process in the Maharashtra State Assembly elections of 2024. He has urged the Election Commission to release the consolidated digital voter rolls post 5 p.m. and CCTV footage from Maharashtra's polling booths. Bear in mind, this after the Election Commission dismissed Rahul Gandhi's allegations of match fixing, so to speak, in the 2024 Assembly elections of Maharashtra, terming it as vague and completely absurd, and giving a point-by-point rebuttal to Rahul Gandhi's voter fraud allegations. After Rahul Gandhi had criticized the Election Commission in an opinion piece in one of the leading daily newspapers, and had alleged that voter lists were inflated with fake voters in last year's Maharashtra Assembly elections.
प्रकार की टिप्पणियां भारत की सेना को लेकर राहुल गांधी जी ने और उनकी पार्टी ने की, उसके बाद उनको पूरी श्योरिटी है कि बिहार के चुनाव वो हारने वाले हैं। अब चुनाव हारने वाले हैं तो बहाना पहले से बनाना है, इसीलिए इलेक्शन कमीशन पर निशाना है, क्योंकि परिवार और अपने आप को बचाना है और एलिबाई और एक्सक्यूज बनाना है। ये जैसे महाराष्ट्र में चुनाव हारे तो पोस्ट इलेक्शन एक्सक्यूज बनाया कि देखो महाराष्ट्र में रिगिंग हो गई इसलिए हम हार गए, अब बिहार में हारने वाले हैं तो ये प्री इलेक्शन एक्सक्यूज बना रहे हैं। जहां तक महाराष्ट्र की बात है तो इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया ने एक नहीं अनेकों बार इनके हर सवाल पर फैक्चुअल डेटाबेस तथ्यात्मक जवाब दिया है, परंतु राहुल गांधी को लगता है कि उनका पारिवारिक तंत्र जो है वो संवैधानिक तंत्र के ऊपर है। इसीलिए जब ये चुनाव हारते हैं तब तो चुनाव आयोग में इनको गलतियां नजर आती है, और यही चुनाव आयोग के द्वारा उसी समय पर किया गया झारखंड चुनाव एकदम ठीक था। इसी समय पर जम्मू कश्मीर का चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, कर्नाटका का चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, तेलंगाना में चुनाव एकदम परफेक्ट था, हिमाचल में भी एकदम परफेक्ट। हाँ, गुजरात और महाराष्ट्र और हरियाणा में गड़बड़ हो जाती है। तो इसका मतलब यह है कि यदि मैं चुनाव जीतूं तब तो चुनाव आयोग ठीक, अगर मैं कोर्ट केस जीतूं तब तो जुडिशरी ठीक, वरना मैं इन सबको गालियां दूं, विदेश जाकर भी गालियां दूं।
राहुल जी ने अपने लेख में जो सवाल पूछे हैं वो बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हैं कि 5 साल में 31 लाख नए वोट जुड़े महाराष्ट्र में 2019 और 2024 के बीच में। लेकिन 5 महीने में 41 लाख नए वोट कैसे जुड़ गए लोकसभा और विधानसभा के बीच में? नंबर 1। नंबर 2, आप अपना प्रोविजनल टर्नआउट जो 58.22% बताते हो शाम को 5 बजे, और फाइनल टर्नआउट आप 66% बता देते हो। 8% का ये फर्क कैसे? हमने कहा चलिए वीडियोग्राफी जारी करिए, सार्वजनिक करिए, क्योंकि जब वोटिंग चल रही होती है तो वीडियोग्राफी मैंडेटरी होती है, कंपलसरी होती है। आज तक वीडियोग्राफी नहीं की, उल्टा नियम बदल दिए कि वीडियोग्राफी अब नहीं जारी करेंगे। हमने तीसरा सवाल पूछा कि जो 12,000 बूथ हैं 85 विधानसभा क्षेत्रों के महाराष्ट्र में जहां भाजपा लोकसभा हारी थी, उन्हीं 12,000 बूथ पे ये नए वोट आए और भाजपा विधानसभा जीत गई। तो हमने ये मांग रखी कि आप जो मतदाता सूची है उसको सार्वजनिक पटल पर रखिए, ताकि कोई भी नागरिक मतदाता सूची का निरीक्षण कर सकता है कि उसमें कितनी बढ़ोतरी हो रही है, कितनी घटोतरी हो रही है, क्या हो रहा है, वो सब मालूम होना चाहिए, पारदर्शिता होनी चाहिए। आज तक नहीं हुआ।
कि राहुल गांधी इन्होंने बिहार में अपनी हार मान ली है। मैं हमेशा ये कहता हूं कि जब तक राहुल गांधी जमीन पर नहीं उतरेंगे, तथ्यों को जब तक वो नहीं समझेंगे और जब तक अपने आप से झूठ बोलेंगे, अपने आप को झूठा आश्वासन और झूठा दिलासा देंगे, तब तक उनकी पार्टी कभी जीत नहीं सकती। उनको जागना ही पड़ेगा, यथार्थ समझना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो ऐसी बेसिर पैर बातें वो हमेशा करते रहेंगे, हमेशा झूठ बोलते रहेंगे, हमेशा मतदाताओं का अपमान करते रहेंगे। ये राहुल गांधी ने महाराष्ट्र के मतदाताओं का जो अपमान किया है, इसके लिए मैं उनका निषेध करता हूं।
The district magistrates of Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal, Kakching and Bishnupur in Manipur have issued prohibitory orders on Sunday. Earlier, the Manipur government ordered the suspension of internet and mobile data services in 5 districts for the next 5 days beginning today. The decision was taken in view of the violent protests and clashes between protesters and security forces in Imphal on Saturday evening. The renewed unrest started over reports over the arrest of leaders from the Meitei organization Arambai Tenggol. Citizens have been requested to cooperate with the orders, which include restrictions on gatherings. The assembly of 4 or more persons has been restricted in Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal and Kakching districts. The orders have been issued in view of the prevailing law and order situation. Meanwhile, a total curfew has been imposed in the Bishnupur district effective from 11 p.m. on Saturday until further orders. The curfew relaxation order previously issued has been cancelled due to the deteriorating law and order situation. Latest visuals coming to you from Imphal after the curfew has been imposed and internet has been suspended due to the deteriorating law and order situation. And with that is a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9 English News.
deep dive into what matters to you the most. Angles you won't find anywhere else. News that impacts your life.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
We begin with the latest on the RCB felicitation stampede case. New details seem to be emerging daily in the case. In the latest, it has come to light that a security warning had been issued a day before the event. It's now emerged that the tragic stampede could have been averted had earlier warnings from the Vidhana Sauda Security Division been heeded. In the latest, the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of Vidhana Sauda Security had issued a clear warning to the Department of Personnel and Administrative Reforms, or DPAR, citing a shortage of security personnel and the need for more time to make adequate arrangements. Despite that, DPAR Secretary Satyavati reportedly gave the green signal for the event. Instead, her June 4th media statement directing people to go to the stadium further reflected a dismissive approach to the warnings issued. Now, that points to serious negligence on the part of DPAR Secretary Satyavati, whose decisions are now under public and administrative scrutiny. Meanwhile, under fire from all quarters, Karnataka's Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has raised the ex gratia for victims' families from 10 lakh rupees to 25 lakh rupees. That decision follows public outcry over the June 4th tragedy that claimed 11 lives. RCB has also pledged 10 lakh rupees per family and launched the RCB Cares Fund for injured fans. Meanwhile, there have been major upheavals in the Karnataka State Cricket Association. The president of the association, Raghuram Bhatt, has said that resignation letters submitted by Secretary A. Shankar and Treasurer E.S. Jairam have been accepted by the managing committee. He said it was important to accept the resignation as it has already come into the public domain. Secretary A. Shankar and Treasurer E.S. Jairam took moral responsibility for the tragedy that unfolded, and they had submitted their resignations on Thursday night to KSCA President Raghuram Bhatt. Meanwhile, CID officials visited the office of the Karnataka State Cricket Association for a probe into the incident, even as heads rolled in the state government, with the Chief Minister sacking Govind Raj, his political secretary, and shifting the Additional Director General of Police as well.
Resignation letters have been accepted by the managing committee. That's the decision that we have taken.
Any further that the decision what need to be taken to run the cricket in KCS?
That is the decision we will take, sir, in another day I will take. Today, important is to accept it because it is already come in public domain.
And now we have our correspondent Mohammad Wajiullah joining us live from Bengaluru for the latest. Waji, heads are rolling in the Karnataka state government apparatus and in the police as well, and in the Karnataka State Cricket Association as well. But this latest detail that News9 has accessed, that there was a warning from the Vidhana Sauda security team to the Department of Personnel and Administrative DPAR that do not hold this at such a short notice. That was completely ignored.
Absolutely, Krishna. This is big because all this while the fear was that there was no written communication from the police with regards to the arrangements, with regards to the security, whether it will be possible or not. But now with this breaking that we are bringing to our viewers, DCP Karibasavana Gowda of the Vidhan Sauda had written to the DPAR on the 4th saying that holding this event would not be possible because the security wing of the Vidhan Sauda does not have so many police officials and a score of things that he had written down with regards to the lack of security cameras, the personnel, and something like this will not be possible to arrange in the next coming hours, and how so many people will be coming in. All these details were written by to the DPAR, and the DPAR, despite all of this, continued to go out. So it now remains to be seen in the investigation on how this lapse happened when DPAR when the DCP of the Vidhan Sabha on the 4th had given a written warning with regards to why holding an event like this would not be possible at Vidhan Sabha and at Swami right now. And how did they go ahead with this program? Who are the people who had asked, who forced the DPAR to go ahead with the program? So these things are something which now the investigation will make it even more interesting, because all this while, after the resignation or after the suspension of the police officers, it was deemed that the police was at fault with regards to the arrangement. But now with this new exclusive letter, it's revealed that the police had informed, given warning signs beforehand itself. Despite that fact, the event went about, and at the end of it, it was the police who had to pay for it by their suspension. So we will have to wait and watch and see what the investigation, because the CEID is looking into it. Now the CID sees this, whether this was a warning letter already, which the government knew, which the DPAR knew, and also the DPR also is now going to be questioned with regards to what led them to go ahead with the program despite this warning. So these are big revelations that we have been able to bring it to our viewers with regards to the RCB stampede that killed 11 people. But now we'll have to wait and watch how the investigation pans out from here.
Right, we'll have to see how the investigation pans out from here, Vajji. But in the meanwhile, CID officials are talking about CID officials. They visited the office of the Karnataka State Cricket Association, and they're probing the incident as to what exactly went wrong from the KSCA side as well. You know, talk to us about the involvement of KSCA and how much of blame is being placed on the KSCA at this stage.
Well, if that event had to happen, you will need the involvement of all the three, which is RCB management, the DNA event company, and the KSC. So all the three people's coordination was utmost important for the event to go about properly. Now, the KSC is the cricketing body of Karnataka, and it is the stadium where all these programs were supposed to happen. Though the RCB management is the one who's supposed to take it, it's the KSCA. The venue is of the KSCA, and that is why these arrangements were also important, that the KSCA were equally involved in this. If it was not possible to have an event on that particular day, it was supposed to be the KSCA who was supposed to highlight it. Though letters from the KSCA were written to the police on the 3rd itself, requesting that they would need security, they would need arrangements, as if RCB wins, then a program will happen. But what we've learned so far is that it was the people from the RCB management who tweeted about the victory parade even before the permissions were sought by the KSCA. So these are the few things we'll have to look at. The CID has also now intensified its entire investigation and are looking at every loophole that could have taken place at that particular time, which resulted in the death of so many people.
Well, the pressure is building on the Chief Minister himself, that's Siddaramaiah. Questions are being raised on why so many police officers have been sacked and shifted. But due to pressure, he himself has increased the ex gratia compensation for the victims' families from 10 lakh rupees to 25 lakh rupees, clearly under pressure that is being put on him by the BJP, the opposition in the state.
Absolutely, Krishna. The government is under a lot of pressure with regards to this particular case, because nobody expected a celebration to turn into a tragedy, and now after it has turned into a tragedy, everybody wants somebody to be held accountable. Who is behind it? Why such a lapse happened? And with regards to the ex gratia, there was a talks even when it was announced at that particular point of time that
talking to us, we're also getting the live visuals of the protests by the BJP in Bengaluru. These are the visuals coming to you straight from Bengaluru, live visuals of protests by the BJP. Pressure being piled on the Karnataka state government, the Congress government in Karnataka, by the principal opposition in the state, that is the BJP.
ಏನೊಂದು ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ IPL ಲೀಗಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಅನ್ನು ಗೆದ್ದು ಬಹಳ ಹರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಬಂದಂತ RCB ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸಲು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅಭಿನಂದಿಸಲು ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಡಿನ ಜನತೆ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದಿಂದ ಎದುರು ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಈ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ
Vajji, clearly the BJP not letting the pressure, wane even a little bit, keeping it right on the government?
Absolutely, Krishna. It is the rightful duty of the opposition to continue to keep the pressure on the government to identify the lapses that has been done by it and ask for accountability. And that is what we're seeing in Karnataka right now. BJP has been relentlessly asking the government with regards to why such a lapse happened, why did so many people had to die because of the involvement of the government in the entire celebration. And that is what Mr. Ashwath Narayan right now is saying when he's speaking to the workers who have come there to protest. And it is not just the BJP, we've also seen the JDS protest. Kumar Swamy had also done a joint press conference with the BJP. In fact, there are smaller parties like the Aam Aadmi Party with a very small significant presence. We've seen protests from them also. Well, it is something that has disturbed I think every Bengalurian and every Bengalurian somewhere or the other is asking for accountability, and the opposition is incumbent, and it is their duty to continue to question and be critical of the government, and that is what we're seeing. We're seeing how from the day the tragedy happened, the opposition has not left a single stone unturned to question the government on how could so many people die under their watch, how could a celebration turned into a catastrophe under their watch, and today also the protest was organized with regards to keeping the accountability in place and asking the government the tough questions.
ಬರೀ ಪ್ರಚಾರನೇ ಮಾತ್ರ ತೊಳೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಅನುಭವಿಸೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅಧಿಕಾರದ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗಮನ ವಹಿಸುವಂತದಿಲ್ಲ, ತಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಉತ್ಸವ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಉತ್ಸವದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸೋದು, ಯಾರೋ ಹೊತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರೋ ತಬಲಾ ಬಾರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರೋ ಹೂ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಆರಾಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂತೋಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓಡಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಂತವ್ರೆ ಈ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಪೈಪೋಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ರು ಏರ್ಪೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಓಡೋಗ್ತಾರೆ.
Narayan is saying that why would the government come into the picture? A minister would go running to the airport.
RCB team captain ಅಶೋಕ್ ಅವರೇ, ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗೆ RCB ಟೀಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಟನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
The deputy chief minister don't even know who the captain is of RCB team.
ಅಂತರಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೇಳೋದು, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಈಗ ಕೈ ಜಾರಿ ಕೈ ತೊಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತು
TNA
ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಪೊಲೀಸರ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಸಸ್ಪೆನ್ಷನ್.
Everything is being blamed on the police. The police is maintaining.
ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದವ್ರು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ, ಇವತ್ತು ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ನನ್ನದು.
Right now responsibility should be taken by the chief minister, the deputy chief minister.
ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ರಾಮ್, ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್, ಅಪ್ಪಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲರಲ್ಲೂ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಸಿಯನ್ನು
They had put posts everywhere saying come.
ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ ಜೀವ ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಬನ್ನಿ, ನಿಮ್ ಜೀವ ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಿಮ್ ಜೀವ
come to take your life. Come, that is what the posts were talking about.
ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದ ದಿನದಿಂದಲೂ ಕಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಜೀವ ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ
From the time the Congress government has come, their intention has been to take lives.
ಇನ್ನಿಬ್ರು ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ರು ಏನ್ ಕಂಡಂತ ಅಮಾಯಕ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು, ಹಿಂದೂ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು, ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು, ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ನೌಕರರು,
be it normal public, Hindu activists, BJP workers, everyone has given their life.
ನೇಣ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಾವಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬೆಲೆ ಸಿಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಜನ ನೇಣ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಇತಿಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಗುತ್ತಿಗೆದಾರರು, ರೈತರು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಸಾವು ಬರೀ ಕಾಂಪೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂತ.
Farmers have been protesting and they're saying that it's been done just for compensation.
ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇವರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರ ಕೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಪೂಜಾರೆ, ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಸೊ ಇಂಥವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಜನರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಾಳಜಿ ಅಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಇವತ್ತು ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಇವತ್ತೇನು
People who are in power who have no idea about the problems of the
ಈ ರೀತಿ
people.
17 ಕಪ್ಪನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತಂಡನು ಗೆದ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು 18ನೇ ಕಪ್ಪು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ
States have also
ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಬೇರೆಯವರು. ಇವ್ರಿಗಂತೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನಾರು
We've seen how the arrangements they've done. If they don't know how to do it,
ತಗೊಂಡಂತ ಈ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರ ಮೇಲೆ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯನ್ನು ಹೊರಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು, ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ, ಗೃಹ ಸಚಿವರು ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯನ್ನು ತೊಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಇವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೇಸ್ ದಾಖಲಾಗಬೇಕು. ಇವ್ರ
Chief
ಮೇಲೆ
Minister, Deputy Chief Minister should take responsibility. Cases should be registered against them.
ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೊಣೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಇವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ವಿಶೇಷ ಅಧಿವೇಶನ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರತಿಪಕ್ಷದ ನಾಯಕರು ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಆರ್ ಅಶೋಕ್ ಅವರು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ವಿಶೇಷ ಅಧಿವೇಶನ ಕರಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಪತ್ರ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Call for a special assembly. R. Ashok is also appealed for it.
ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಈ ಮೂಲಕ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಒತ್ತಾಯನ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮಗೇನಾರ ಎಳ್ಳಷ್ಟು ಆತ್ಮಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಇದೆ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ
Even if you have a little bit of shame, giving resignation is the most important thing right now. That's what Ashok Narayan is saying.
ಪೊಲೀಸರನ್ನ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳನ್ನ ಬಲಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ, ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಅಮಾಯಕರನ್ನ ಬಲಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿರತಕ್ಕ
Live protest visuals from outside the State Secretariat of Karnataka in Bengaluru, the Vidhana Sauda, where the BJP is protesting, demanding the Chief Minister's resignation over the stampede case. Mohammad Wajiullah is bringing us the live report straight from Bengaluru. Vaji, clearly the BJP is not satisfied with any action taken so far. It is clearly saying that it is the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister who are responsible, and they are trying to shift the blame on everybody else except them. They are putting the blame on the police officers, they are putting the blame on Karnataka State Cricket Association, the RCB team. But the BJP making it clear that the fault of this lies with the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister, and they are demanding their resignation.
Absolutely, Krishna. Ashok Narayan, while speaking right now, has categorically said that what was the need of the Deputy Chief Minister to go to the airport? You had, and the Deputy Chief Minister did not even know who the captain of the RCB team was, and he was seen everywhere with regards to the celebration. If such a celebration, then they should seen how different states had done it. So the opposition leader has been saying the same thing in one voice since the time this entire thing has happened, and the demand for resignation of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and the Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar is only rising in Karnataka. The opposition has also pointed out how despite the fact that there was no proper arrangement, they went ahead, they got carried away by the momentum of IPL and the RCB team's victory. And that is why they wanted to get involved in it. They should have seen how different states have done the celebration, and they should have followed that if they don't know how it can be done. Doing it immediately was something that was not required. And right now, the only way the government can wash his hands off this is by making sure that the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister resigns, is what Ashok Narayan has said. And he's been saying this relentlessly since the time we've seen this incident come to light, Krishna.
Mohammad Wajiullah, they are getting us the latest on the RCB stampede case from Bengaluru. Thank you, Vaji, for joining us with an update. Now, the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha and Congress party's leader, Rahul Gandhi, has intensified his attack on the election body over transparency in the process. He has urged the Election Commission to release consolidated digital voter rolls and post CCTV footage post 5 p.m. from Maharashtra's polling booths. Earlier, the poll panel dismissed Rahul Gandhi's allegations of match fixing in the 2024 Maharashtra State Assembly elections. The Election Commission termed it vague and completely absurd, issuing a point-by-point rebuttal to the Congress MP's voter fraud allegations. And Rahul Gandhi, in an opinion piece, bear in mind, had alleged that the voter lists were inflated with fake voters in last year's Maharashtra elections, and the Election Commission has dismissed Rahul Gandhi's match-fixing claims, stating that the entire voting process was conducted transparently with polling agents from all political parties present. And that's the response coming in from the Election Commission in response to Rahul Gandhi, who has intensified his attack on the Election Commission over transparency in the election process in the Maharashtra State Assembly elections of 2024. Is urged the Election Commission to release the consolidated digital voter rolls post 5 p.m. and CCTV footage from Maharashtra's polling booths. Bear in mind this after the Election Commission dismissed Rahul Gandhi's allegations of match fixing, so to speak, in the 2024 Assembly elections of Maharashtra, terming it as vague and completely absurd and giving a point-by-point rebuttal to Rahul Gandhi's voter fraud allegations. After Rahul Gandhi had criticized the Election Commission in an opinion piece in one of the leading daily newspapers and had alleged that voter lists were inflated with fake voters in last year's Maharashtra Assembly elections.
प्रकार की टिप्पणियां भारत की सेना को लेकर राहुल गांधी जी ने और उनकी पार्टी ने की, उसके बाद उनको पूरी श्योरिटी है कि बिहार के चुनाव वो हारने वाले हैं। अब चुनाव हारने वाले हैं तो बहाना पहले से बनाना है, इसीलिए इलेक्शन कमीशन पर निशाना है, क्योंकि परिवार और अपने आप को बचाना है और एलिबाई और एक्सक्यूज बनाना है। ये जैसे महाराष्ट्र में चुनाव हारे तो पोस्ट इलेक्शन एक्सक्यूज बनाया कि देखो महाराष्ट्र में रिगिंग हो गई इसलिए हम हार गए, अब बिहार में हारने वाले हैं तो ये प्री इलेक्शन एक्सक्यूज बना रहे हैं। जहां तक महाराष्ट्र की बात है तो इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया ने एक नहीं अनेकों बार इनके हर सवाल पर फैक्चुअल डेटाबेस तथ्यात्मक जवाब दिया है, परंतु राहुल गांधी को लगता है कि उनका पारिवारिक तंत्र जो है वो संवैधानिक तंत्र के ऊपर है। इसीलिए जब ये चुनाव हारते हैं तब तो चुनाव आयोग में इनको गलतियां नजर आती है, और यही चुनाव आयोग के द्वारा उसी समय पर किया गया झारखंड चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, इसी समय पर जम्मू कश्मीर का चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, कर्नाटका का चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, तेलंगाना में चुनाव एकदम परफेक्ट था, हिमाचल में भी एकदम परफेक्ट। हाँ, गुजरात और महाराष्ट्र और हरियाणा में गड़बड़ हो जाती है। तो इसका मतलब ये है कि यदि मैं चुनाव जीतूं तब तो चुनाव आयोग ठीक, अगर मैं कोर्ट केस जीतूं तब तो जुडिशरी ठीक, वरना मैं इन सबको गालियां दूं, विदेश जाकर भी गालियां दूं।
राहुल जी ने अपने लेख में जो सवाल पूछे हैं वो बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हैं कि 5 साल में 31 लाख नए वोट जुड़े महाराष्ट्र में 2019 और 2024 के बीच में, लेकिन 5 महीने में 41 लाख नए वोट कैसे जुड़ गए लोकसभा और विधानसभा के बीच में? नंबर 1। नंबर 2, आप अपना प्रोविजनल टर्नआउट जो 58.22% बताते हो शाम को 5 बजे, और फाइनल टर्नआउट आप 66% बता देते हो, 8% का ये फर्क कैसे? हमने कहा चलिए वीडियोग्राफी जारी करिए, सार्वजनिक करिए, क्योंकि जब वोटिंग चल रही होती है तो वीडियोग्राफी मैंडेटरी होती है, कंपलसरी होती है। आज तक वीडियोग्राफी नहीं की, उल्टा नियम बदल दिए कि वीडियोग्राफी अब नहीं जारी करेंगे। हमने तीसरा सवाल पूछा कि जो 12,000 बूथ हैं 85 विधानसभा क्षेत्रों के महाराष्ट्र में जहां भाजपा लोकसभा हारी थी, उन्हीं 12,000 बूथ पे ये नए वोट आए और भाजपा विधानसभा जीत गई। तो हमने ये मांग रखी कि आप जो मतदाता सूची है उसको सार्वजनिक पटल पर रखिए, ताकि कोई भी नागरिक मतदाता सूची का निरीक्षण कर सकता है कि उसमें कितनी बढ़ोतरी हो रही है, कितनी घटोतरी हो रही है, क्या हो रहा है, वो सब मालूम होना चाहिए, पारदर्शिता होनी चाहिए। आज तक नहीं हुआ।
कि राहुल गांधी इन्होंने बिहार में अपनी हार मान ली है। मैं हमेशा ये कहता हूं कि जब तक राहुल गांधी जमीन पर नहीं उतरेंगे, तथ्यों को जब तक वो नहीं समझेंगे और जब तक अपने आप से झूठ बोलेंगे, अपने आप को झूठा आश्वासन और झूठा दिलासा देंगे, तब तक उनकी पार्टी कभी जीत नहीं सकती। उनको जागना ही पड़ेगा, यथार्थ समझना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो ऐसी बेसिर पैर बातें वो हमेशा करते रहेंगे, हमेशा झूठ बोलते रहेंगे, हमेशा मतदाताओं का अपमान करते रहेंगे। ये राहुल गांधी ने महाराष्ट्र के मतदाताओं का जो अपमान किया है, इसके लिए मैं उनका निषेध करता हूं।
The district magistrates of Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal, Kakching and Bishnupur in Manipur have issued prohibitory orders on Sunday. Earlier, the Manipur government ordered the suspension of internet and mobile data services in 5 districts for the next 5 days beginning today. The decision was taken in view of the violent protests and clashes between protesters and security forces in Imphal on Saturday evening. The renewed unrest started over reports over the arrest of leaders from the Meitei organization Arambai Tenggol. Citizens have been requested to cooperate with the orders, which include restrictions on gatherings. The assembly of 4 or more persons has been restricted in Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal and Kakching districts. The orders have been issued in view of the prevailing law and order situation. Meanwhile, a total curfew has been imposed in the Bishnupur district effective from 11 p.m. on Saturday until further orders. The curfew relaxation order previously issued has been cancelled due to the deteriorating law and order situation. Latest visuals coming to you from Imphal after the curfew has been imposed and internet has been suspended due to the deteriorating law and order situation. And with that is a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
First is the challenge to convince the consumer that you need insurance. And the second is that they should buy your insurance.
Absolutely.
So and you know the competition is only rising by the day with the number of players and the number of products that these players are introducing in the market. So how do you do the second part? That why they should come and buy your insurance?
Yeah, so that's actually where exactly the typical marketing comes into the play. What you will see that there are several Me Too products, Me Too brands out there, and how do you sort of go and differentiate yourself? And that's where a lot of marketing works come into the picture. The way we are approaching it as Tata AIG, that we want to create a distinctive identity for our brands. When I say distinctive identity, you look at the insurance category, in particular the non-life insurance. What you will see that people normally come, they will talk about a certain benefit and they will crack a joke. So let's say, do your policy has that your policy has this, here is a joke, please buy my policy. I mean, we have gone completely away from that route and we are saying that no. I mean, insurance means a lot to the consumer. If he or she is spending almost 50k, 60k, 70k, that kind of money on you, he's just looking at it beyond insurance. When I speak to the consumers, they say that insurance is like my big brother. I look at them the way I look at my family members, the way I look at my father or my grandpa. Whenever something used to happen there, I used to believe in my childhood that my grandpa will take care of me or my father will take care of me. Likewise, insurance, I have that kind of feeling, that kind of emotion. It's like family to me. And that's exactly why you see the campaign which we have launched, with you like family, with you always. It exactly just echoes that sentiment that in times of need, I will be there for you. Tata AIG, you can trust on us, we will be there for you to help you out. And that's what the entire campaign is all about. It's not about a funny joke. It's not about cracking a joke or cracking a benefit. All those things are there for sure. But the important thing is that we are there with you like family, most importantly in times of need.
Is life transactional by any chance?
Everything in the creation affects everything else.
I think the existential question that all of us grapple with, that who am I?
From being somebody to becoming nobody is the first step in enlightenment.
Watch Duologue with Barun Das at these times on News9.
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News9's pick of the week. Don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News9's page 3 is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
Is this politics of appeasement?
That is the ground reality.
The violence continued unabated for the next 24 hours. Why is there Mamta for Pahalgam but not for Murshidabad?
Everyone in Pakistan is saying that India has punished us. We are all agreeing that Operation Sindoor is a success. तो problem क्या है? किसका नमाज़े जनाजा निकल रहा था बहावलपुर में और रावलपिंडी में?
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. I'm Kabir Naqvi. The top headlines we're tracking for you on your screens first. News9 accesses Vidhan Sauda Security Wing DCP's letter. This letter to the Secretary of the Department of Personnel and Administrative Reforms on the 4th of June, and the letter warned against holding the event felicitating the RCB players on such a short notice. All those red flags, will bring them out to the fore for you. Stay tuned. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has ordered increasing the relief, the ex gratia for the victims' families after criticism from the opposition. The victims' families are now going to get 25 lakh rupees instead of the earlier 10 lakh rupees by the government. Manipur government suspends internet and mobile data services across 5 valley districts after the arrest of Meitei group Arambai Tenggol's leader. The body of a 9-year-old girl found in a suitcase in Nehru Vihar area of northeast Delhi. Cops suspect a sexual assault and murder case. Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Madurai today to chair Tamil Nadu BJP's core meet, set to visit the Meenakshi Amman temple, address the party workers. The temple visit shortly from now. Chilling murder emerges in Bengaluru as a man confesses to the police beheading his wife over an extramarital affair. In a major breakthrough, Bengaluru Suryanagar police arrests 7 men from Bihar in connection to the murder of 17-year-old minor, whose body was found stuffed in a suitcase at the Chandapura railway bridge in Bengaluru outskirts. India's poverty rate has fallen from 27.1% in 2011-2012 to 5.3% in 2022-2023, according to the World Bank report. Details coming your way. And Colombian presidential candidate Miguel Uribe Turbe shot and seriously wounded during a political rally in Bogota. Well, our top focus this news week. The district magistrates of Imphal West, Imphal East, we're talking about Thoubal, Kakching and Bishnupur districts. 5 districts in the valley hilly state of Manipur. They have issued prohibitory orders today. Earlier, the Manipur government had ordered the suspension of internet and mobile data services in 5 districts for the next 5 days beginning today. And the decision was taken in view of the violent protests and clashes between the protesters and the security forces in Imphal on Saturday evening. Some of those visuals of the aftermath of what happened on Saturday evening on your screens. These are visuals from today, from Imphal, but they again tell you the aftermath of what that clash must have looked like between the protesters and the security officials. The renewed unrest, it started over reports of the arrest of leaders from the Meitei organization Arambai Tenggol. Citizens have been requested to cooperate with the orders, which include restrictions on gatherings. The assembly of 4 or more persons has been restricted in Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal and Kakching districts. The orders have been issued in view of the prevailing law and order situation. A total curfew, meanwhile, has been imposed in Bishnupur district, effective from 11 p.m. last night until further orders and clarifications. The curfew relaxation order previously issued has been cancelled now due to the deteriorating law and order situation. The arrest of Meitei outfit Arambai Tenggol's leader seems to be the center point, the bone of contention due to which these fresh protests erupted. Manipur on edge yet again. Joining me here on the broadcast, B.L. Vora, former Home Secretary and former DGP Manipur. A very warm welcome to you, sir. And P.K. Mishra, former ADG BSF. Mishra sir, let me quickly get the snowball rolling here. We earlier learnt about the president's rule. Political leaders from both sides are trying to stake claim to form a fresh government. Congress leaders meeting with their, party high command. The BJP leaders forming a huddle, making their way to meet the governor as well. But yet again, these visuals, tires being burnt, the aftermath of what prevailed last evening. Mishra sir, how are you looking at these developments and what's the next step here? Because reconciliation has again, as a word, is, getting vanished from the lexicon of Manipuri lives.
Yes, Kabir, I can well tell you, Imphal is very tense. What has happened yesterday after Arambai Tenggol leader, that the operational commander, not the chief of Arambai Tenggol, that is Konak Nangpa, but I am telling you about the operational chief of army of Arambai Tenggol, Kanon Singh, was apprehended by security forces along with 4 more members of Arambai Tenggol, and then situation went out of control in Imphal West, Imphal East, Bishnupur, Kakching, and also Thoubal. So now, Bishnupur is completely under curfew, and all these places they are having even communication has also been stopped in these areas for 5 days. But I can well tell you what went wrong after apprehension of Kanan Singh, that all these mighty groups, they came up to the road, and there was a clash with security forces at Kakching, that is 4 kilometers from Imphal airport, where 3 or 4 personnel were injured, and when 2 police vehicles they came, they were surrounded, and that is how it happened. And I can well tell you at Lamlang Bazaar also, when a security vehicle was going, that is towards Ukhrul, when you go Lamlang Bazaar, the one security bus was totally burnt by these mighty groups. Things are very tense, and not only here, even in More also things are very tense. Uripok also it is tense. More is different issue. But what has happened in these 5 districts, it is because of apprehension of Kanan Singh, the chief of army of Arambai Tenggol. The situation is very tense, and let us see how things will come up now, because I spoke to Imphal today morning, and I could visualize the situation. In fact, nobody can come out because communication is also not there. None of the buses are running, but things are pretty bad. Most of the mighty groups, they have gone against it, and they are now blocking the roads, tires being burned, and situation is out of control in these 5 districts for which curfew has been imposed. And it is all started for Kanan Singh's apprehension with 4 more members of Arambai Tenggol because of the complaint which was lodged against him by the Cookie group. So they are asking, mighty group, they are asking even the Cookie group leader also, particularly those who are militants, they are helping the militants having weapons, and also they have to be apprehended also if they have apprehended Kanan Singh. So things are pretty bad. Both in Imphal, Imphal East, Imphal West, Kakching, Thoubal, Bishnupur, and also in Tignopal and More. I am adding you, it is also in Tignopal and More because of apprehension of 2-3 militants of Kane group, and that is how things are very bad in More also.
So this might be spreading. So from the 5 districts that we just pointed out, Imphal West, East, you've got Kakching, you've got Thoubal, you've got Bishnupur, a complete curfew in Bishnupur. B.L. Vora, former Home Secretary and former DGP Manipur. DGP Vora, help the viewers understand. We're also learning of demonstrators gathering outside the Imphal airport gate at Tulihal following unconfirmed reports that the arrested leader, Kanan Singh, that P.K. Mishra was talking about, was to be flown out of the state. Protesters just blocked the airport road. Some of those visuals from outside the airport premises have also been shown. Even some of them slept on it overnight just to make sure that that doesn't happen. Now, how are you decoding these developments and what next? I already mentioned that political, parties, hectic parlays on that particular front, because we need a government in Manipur as well. It's still under president's rule, and fresh, protests, and Manipur again on edge. Sir.
Mr. Kabir, this is a two-pronged failure.
Yep.
On the one hand, we have been treating the violence, the taking of law into their own hands with kid gloves all through. This has been a great failure on the part of the state and central governments. In hoping against hope that people will understand, they don't understand at all. So I think this is the result of all handling all the situation with kid gloves softly. I think that should not be there. Number two, the second failure has been not talking to people. Politically, no decisions has been taken. For example, Chief Minister Biren Singh was allowed to continue for a long time. Politically, we create policies, not talking to people, we create policies. So people have been emboldened by now. The whole thing started with cookies and the drug issue. And now where we have reached. Problem, unfortunately, is that unfortunately, Central has no time for Manipur, or for that matter for the Northeast. And it is nothing new. It has been happening for decades and decades since independence. I tell you, in 73, when I was first posted that area, I am seeing from those times that they have no time except giving money to them. Of late, a little attention is being paid, but it is not good enough. So I think we are paying the price for our own failures on two counts, as I said, handling situations with kid gloves, and second, neglecting that area, not taking political decisions, not talking to people properly. And that is why situation is worsening, and it will continue to worsen if care is not taken on these two fronts. Kabir.
DGP Vora, my follow-up to you, because you're somebody who's seen Manipur right from the inside as well. So has, ADG Mishra. But my follow-up to you, what do these latest protests essentially tell us about the centre's control per se, or lack thereof, over the valley region? What I'm essentially trying to understand is that how does one decode these arrests that have now happened? Is this, domination? Is this poor political foresight? Because one should have anticipated what the arrest of Kanan Singh would have meant on the ground in terms of realities on the streets.
I think it's the same thing. You are reinforcing, Kabir, what I said. One is too little, too late. These actions should have been taken long ago. And secondly, protests, they knew that protests will take place. Why handle with kid gloves? They should have handled with force. See, unless you handle with force the situations, things are not going to improve, I tell you. That is my experience. I have worked in insurgency areas in Manipur, in Tripura, in Kashmir. I have worked in Punjab, everywhere. So I think that we are paying the price. And as I said, that if they don't mend their ways, it will worsen. Now here, NIA is involved in arrest, as you know it. You have mentioned details. Mr. Mishra, my friend, has mentioned the details. NIA. So NIA will not arrest anybody without evidence. So if the arrest is there, it's a genuine arrest, right arrest, and they have a recourse to the court of law to go and seek his release. And flowing out of Imphal also, the prisoners or the people who are arrested, it was done in those days also when I was first posted in 1980, and we got them back at that time. This shows also weak administration. On the one hand, you're not sure that you can keep these people secure in your own jails and lockups. What a shame. And second, you can't somebody send outside. The will of the government is so weak that people can block the roads and they'll have their field day. And yesterday also, they tried to snatch away this guy from the police vans and all, as you know it. What kind of a handling the situation is, if you ask me, honestly, it reflects very poorly both on the central government and the state government.
All right. You know what, ADG Mishra, let me ask you the same question again. What do you think is the end game with the state's arrests? Is it disarmament or domination? And can something like that even happen, in a fractured, in a wounded Manipur, for the lack of better words? And given your particular experience in the region, the president's rule, the structure of it all, do you think the president's rule is equipped? Does it have the wherewithal to deal with an emotionally charged Manipur, the aftermath of which on the screens for the viewers to consume as well?
Kabir, yes, I was just listening to Mr. Bora. He's absolutely correct. You see, this is a state where we are having 80,000 forces. It's very strange. I'm telling you, forget about More and Tignopal, what has happened. I'm coming down to Imphal. Okay. NIA, we have charge sheet against Kanan Singh, and Kanan Singh was apprehended with another 4 persons. Okay. But we knew that he is from Arambai Tenggol, and he is the chief commander of operational group, chief of army of Arambai Tenggol. That means whole mighty group will come to the road. And then you are taking Kanan Singh when having 80,000 forces in 2 gypsies, 2 police vehicles to airport to take him away from Imphal. And they were surrounded at Pakaitel, just 4 kilometers short of airport, by all the mighty groups, and they were firing, and of course few people, they were injured. I'm telling you, this should not have been happened. This should not have happened. If you are taking Kanan Singh, you know there are charges against him. Then you are having sufficient force. You could have dominated that road from governor's house up to airport. That 5 or 6 kilometers is nothing to dominate. And you have left it that, okay, we can carry it with 2 gypsies. And just see at Lamlang Bazaar, I am not mentioning whose, but it was a security bus which was totally burnt. They should have definitely taken into account the repercussion what will happen after Kanan Singh has been apprehended, and other 4 persons they were apprehended, and also to take them away from the state. There was nothing new in taking them out from the state. They are being taken to Guwahati, they are being taken to Delhi, that's for interrogation and all. That's a different issue. But you should have taken proper precaution. And even if it has happened yesterday night also, you see, the whole mighty, again, another issue, the whole mighty group, they are now protesting. Another issue has started in Imphal. And that shows that during President's rule, we are having so many forces, we are failing in our security duties to dominate and to cover our areas. And that also Imphal East, Imphal West, Kakching, and these are Bishnupur and these areas where we are having sufficient forces. What has gone wrong with our security apparatus and the deployment of forces, and to think, just to plan how to take action once you apprehend a leader.
No, pertinent points, ADG Mishra, that you're constantly raising.
Definitely.
We also have DGP Vora wanted to make a point. DGP, please exercise brevity. I'm completely running out of time here, but we'll give you the final say here. Over to you.
Kabir, in 1980, when I was first appointed as a DIG to Manipur, Imphal situation was exactly the same as it is today. There were curfews. There were firings by the insurgents in the streets of Imphal. But we took on them. We went into the streets. We established contact with them and dominated the area with all the political backing of the then Chief Minister, Mr. Isham Keshing. And things became all right over a period of time. And now you mentioned about President rule. President rule, by itself, the word is not enough. It should have all the better advisors, it should have all the powers, it should have all the resources, it should have all the forces at its command. And it can be done. There's no big deal. There is institutionalized memory is not there. We all want to, invent the wheel always, Situation can be controlled provided there is will. Thank you, Kabir.
All right. BL Vora, former Home Secretary, former DGP Manipur, and PK Mishra, former ADG BSF. Many thanks for joining us here on the broadcast, because the fire in Manipur is far from doused. Gentlemen, I'm sure you would agree as well. And as mistrust deepens, every arrest, every protest, and every silence is going to be adding fuel. The question isn't about law and order, but about peace, and whether anyone still has the roadmap to it. It can be done, but who's going to finally do it? Well, at this point in time, let's also tell you about another development that's taking place and shape in Manipur, because the Union Home Ministry is all set to resume talks with the Kuki-Zo insurgent groups in Manipur after a gap of about 2 years. A senior government official told a leading daily that the suspension of operations, pact or sue agreements with insurgent groups in Manipur will be renegotiated with stringent ground rules. Now, the Kuki-Zo sue groups will hold the talks with MHA's Northeast advisor A.K. Mishra and Intelligence Bureau officials on the 9th of June. And let's also quickly take a look at how many times talks were held in the recent past and what exactly came out of it. Now, on the 3rd of May 2023, back when the protests actually erupted, 25 Kuki-Zo groups almost signed an agreement with the Union Home Ministry. The groups agreed for autonomous councils for Kuki-Zo people, but the talks were derailed after the violence erupted. On the 29th of February 2024, Manipur government pulled out of the tripartite sue agreement. The pact was first signed back in 2008. And on the 29th of February 2024, the Manipur Assembly, barring Kuki-Zo MLAs, unanimously passed a resolution to abrogate sue agreement. There are 14 sue camps in hill districts and around 2,200 identified cadres in those camps. On the 19th to the 22nd of August, moving on, a horrifying case from Delhi has shaken the national capital again. A 9-year-old girl was found dead, her body stuffed inside a suitcase in the Nehru Vihar area. The incident, suspected to involve sexual assault, has sparked widespread outrage and protests as well. Now, the child had reportedly gone to visit a relative on Saturday night and did not return. A frantic search by the family ended in a nightmare. Her body was later found stuffed inside a suitcase in a flat nearby. The crime spot is under intense investigation. That building on your screens as well. And crime and forensic teams are combing through the apartment and the area for clues, whilst CCTV footage from the neighborhood is being examined to track down those responsible. Preliminary medical observations point towards a sexual assault in this particular case, and the police say that they were investigating all angles. The incident has triggered protests in the area. Locals gathered in large numbers, angry and heartbroken. Shops have been shut down in solidarity as residents demand swift justice and accountability. And this is the second such suitcase murder in a matter of weeks, raising serious questions about child safety and policing in urban spaces. Delhi's former Chief Minister, Arvind Kejriwal, he said, and I quote, that this incident of rape and murder of a 9-year-old innocent girl in Delhi has shocked everyone. BJP has ruined the law and order situation in Delhi. Our daughters are not safe even in BJP's 4-engine government. Home Minister Amit Shah and his 4-engine government will have to answer. Delhi's daughters want answers as well as justice.
मेरी बच्ची 1 घंटे से मिल नहीं रही थी। मैं उसे ढूंढ रहा था सारे में, मेरे घर वाले भी ढूंढ रहे थे। फिर हमें एक फ्लैट में उसके होने की खबर मिली। जब हम वहाँ फ्लैट में पहुंचे तो ताला लग रहा था। मैंने उसका ताला अपने हाथों से तोड़ा है। ताला तोड़ने के बाद और भी लोग थे वहाँ पे जब ताला तोड़ा है। ताला तोड़ने के बाद जब मैं फ्लैट में गया, अंधेरा था, मैंने उसमें मोबाइल से टॉर्च जला के देखा तो नीचे ब्रीफकेस पड़ा हुआ था, उसमें मेरी बच्ची बंद थी। वो बेशुद्ध थी बिल्कुल। मैं उसे लेके वहाँ पे गली में ही नर्सिंग होम गया। उन्होंने मुझे यहाँ हॉस्पिटल भेज दिया। 0 पुश्ते लेकर आया। इन्होंने उसे बच्ची को मृत घोषित कर दिया है। उसके भाई पकड़े गए हैं। अभी विक्टिम जो है, मेन विक्टिम, वो फरार है।
Even as the case is being politicized, yet another suitcase murder that has come to light. On the 21st of May, a 17-year-old minor's body was found murdered and stuffed inside a suitcase near Bengaluru. And another urban space, Delhi, this is Nehru Vihar in northeast Delhi, where another suitcase murder has come to light. The minor, according to preliminary reports and the family's allegations, was raped and murdered. There is sexual assault that is also involved in this case. The forensic teams and the crime branch is on the spot, combing through it relentlessly. That's the essential information that we're tracking at this point in time. Nehru Vihar in Delhi is where the suitcase was found in a nearby apartment. The family is absolutely distraught at this time. There was a little protest that was carried out in the market area. The market shops in the vicinity have been shut down in solidarity with the protesting family members who are crying foul play that is involved in this entire case. The girl was missing for about an hour. This is a 9-year-old girl that was murdered and allegedly raped as well. Body was stuffed inside a suitcase found in a nearby flat in the vicinity. My colleague Shalini joins us on the broadcast here. Shalini, दर्शकों की किस प्रकार से सहायता कर सकते हैं हम इस समय? किस वक्त ये घटना हुई, इसका एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन क्या है? पुलिस को इस समय पुख्ते सुराग अगर सामने देखे जाएं तो क्या-क्या मिल चुके हैं? ओवर टू यू शालिनी।
बिल्कुल, मैं आपको बता दूं, इस वक्त सबसे पहले मैं आपको तस्वीर दिखाती हूं। दयालपुर का इलाका है और नेहरू विहार की गली नंबर 2 आप देखेंगे। इसी गली में जो है वो 9 साल की बच्ची रहती थी, जो कि अब नहीं रही एक दरिंदे की वजह से। तो आप देख रहे हैं वो इसी गली में वो बच्ची रहती थी। और परिवार जो बता रहा है, उसकी माँ जो बता रही है कि शाम को 7 बजे कल उन्होंने बच्ची को बर्फ लेने के लिए भेजा था, क्योंकि कल बकरीद थी, त्योहार का मौका था, लोगों का आना जाना घर में हो रहा था। तो कल त्योहार के दिन शाम को बच्ची जो है वो बर्फ लेने जाती है और शाम 7 बजे जाती है। जब 10 मिनट तक 15 मिनट तक घर नहीं पहुंचती तो परिवार के लोग जो हैं वो उसको ढूंढने के लिए निकलते हैं, लोगों से पूछताछ करते हैं कि आखिर बच्ची गई कहाँ। तो कुछ लोग बताते हैं कि बच्ची को उन्होंने जाते हुए इस घर के सामने इस फ्लैट में देखा था। तो उसके बाद वो जो है वो लोगों से पूछताछ के करते हैं कि आखिर किस फ्लैट पर कहाँ पर गई, किस फ्लोर पे गई। तो पता चलता है कि वो एक आसपास के ही जो फ्लैट है उसके 2nd फ्लोर पे रहने वाले एक शख्स को जो है वो बच्ची को लेकर गया। जब वहाँ पर परिवार के लोग जाते हैं तो वहाँ पर ताला लगा हुआ मिलता है। उसके बाद वो लोगों की मदद से उस ताले को तोड़ते हैं और अंदर जाते हैं तो देखते हैं और बच्ची को ढूंढते हैं तो पता चलता है बच्ची एक सूटकेस में बंद मिली उनको। तो ये हालत उस बच्ची की देखकर परिवार के लोगों के साथ सोचिए कि क्या उनकी स्थिति रही होगी उस वक्त, क्योंकि सुबह तक जो लोग मुबारकबाद देने आ रहे थे बकरीद की, वो शाम तक घर पर मातम मनाने पहुंचने लगते हैं, क्योंकि बच्ची की दरिंदगी की शिकार हो जाती है। कि 35 साल का वो शख्स नौशाद जिसने बच्ची के साथ एक दरिंदगी की, अभी तक उसकी गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो पाई। हालांकि पुलिस का कहना है कि उन्होंने 7 टीमें बना दी हैं। वो टीम जो है वो मेरठ, गाजियाबाद, अलीगढ़ सभी जगहों पर जाके तलाशी कर रही है। वो मैं आपको ये एरिया दिखाती हूँ, यहीं पर बच्ची रहती है। और बाहर लोग नाराज होकर लोग बाहर पहुँच गए सड़क पर प्रोटेस्ट करने के लिए। लोगों ने यहाँ पर जो दुकानें देख रहे हैं आप, ये सारी दुकानों को उन्होंने बंद करा दिया, पूरी मार्केट को बंद करा दिया। उनका ये कहना था कि बच्ची को अभी तक इंसाफ नहीं मिला है, क्योंकि अभी तक आरोपी पकड़ा नहीं गया, नौशाद की अभी तक गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो पाई, इसलिए लोग यहाँ पर सड़कों पर आ गए। और इसीलिए आप देख रहे हैं बैरिकेडिंग जो कर दी गई और दिल्ली पुलिस, पैरामिलिट्री सभी यहाँ पर पहुँच गए, क्योंकि लोगों उनका बार बार ये कहना था कि हमें इंसाफ, बच्ची को इंसाफ तभी मिलेगा जब उस जो आरोपी है जिन्होंने ये दरिंदगी की है उस नौशाद को जब पकड़ा जाएगा। तो बच्ची बार
शालिनी, काफी अहम सवाल भी सामने आके खड़े हो चुके हैं कि क्या शुरुआती मेडिकल रिपोर्ट्स में सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट की पुष्टि हुई है कि नहीं, सीसीटीवी फुटेजेस को किस तरीके से खगोला जा रहा है। वी गोना कीप कमिंग बैक टू यू शालिनी, हु इज रिपोर्टिंग टू अस लाइव फ्रॉम an alleyway in Nehru Vihar. Many thanks, Shalini, for joining us here on the broadcast here. We're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here, but all these prime questions about the medical examination and the CCTV footages on this Delhi rape and murder story of a minor that's come to light. We're going to keep our eyes and ears peeled onto the ground. For now, a quick commercial breather. Top developments right on the other side.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9. English news as
नए बिरला ओपस वाटर प्रूफिंग की क्रैक प्रूफ टेक्नोलॉजी सीलन से बचाती है। हमेशा वाला लगाना चाहिए था। इनको जमाने से पीछे चलने दो, आप चुनो नया बिरला ओपस।
साथियों, आपको जानकर ये खुशी होगी कि रक्षा क्षेत्र में सेल्फ रिलायंस, आत्मनिर्भरता को बढ़ावा देने के लिए एमका प्रोजेक्ट को, जो 5th जनरेशन फाइटर एयरक्राफ्ट भारत में ही बनाने का प्रोजेक्ट है, उसको आगे बढ़ाने की एक्सक्लूसिव मॉडल को मंजूरी दे दी है।
The AMCA success will put India on the global high table of aviation defense production.
If we are going to be a 5 trillion economy, and in that we are going to cut down on imports for defense sector, it is a cumulative advantage.
The Make in India concept, which came in not only for other sectors but also for the defense sector.
यह बहुत ही डिसाइसिव डिसीजन लिया गया है, जो भारत की डिफेंस कैपेबिलिटीज को मजबूती प्रदान करने के साथ साथ इस देश में एरो स्पेस सेक्टर को एक डेप्थ और एक नई हाइट प्रदान करेगा।
World says that India would be the second largest economy in the world much before 2047.
I'm joined by Hardeep Singh Puri, Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas. Sir, thank you very much for making time for News9. And let me begin this interview by asking you a question. How has India's energy security been reshaped in last 11 years, where global markets have been volatile and neighborhood uncertain?
See, I think any assessment on our energy situation in terms of where we stand today is significant not just for the last 11 years. That's where the work was done. But I think it assumes even a larger salience and significance if you look at the last post-47 period. Why is it relevant for the larger period? I don't think there has been any point in our history before the Prime Minister assumed charge where we have looked at issues of energy with this kind of a sharp focus. Let me explain to you. Between 2006 and 16, we had another government till between 2006 and 14. We had entered into a large number of contracts which I'm having to face the legal ramifications of that, and we're winning most of them. Things came to a grinding halt. I'm not trying to lay the blame on anyone. What happened is that you entered into contracts which resulted in dispute went into litigation, and there was a bringing the whole thing to a grinding halt. Therefore, between 2006 and 16, you virtually did no exploration and production. What is it that signifies energy security? What constitutes energy security? You must have availability at all times. You must have affordability and sustainability from our point of view. But you had a situation prior to 2014 where ENP, we were just nibbling at our sedimentary basin. It's the Prime Minister who took certain decisions after that. In 2016, we went from revenue sharing, from production sharing contracts to revenue sharing contract. 1 million square kilometers out of our 3.5 million square kilometers, which was a no-go area, was opened up. In the 9th round of the open acreage licensing policy, 38% of the bids came in that 1 million square kilometers. And I'm more than certain, I'm sure, that when we get the bids for the 10th round of OALP, open acreage licensing policy, most of them will come in that 1 million square kilometers opened up. Where were we on biofuels in 2014? I'm jumping. Availability, affordability. We were just blending about 1.5% of our overall crude oil and petroleum with biofuels. We had a target of 10% by November 22. We did that 5 months in advance. And we have a target of 20% for 2030. We brought that 5-6 years in advance. So biofuels we've moved. We've moved on exploration and production. For the first time, I can look you in the eye and say, yes, we've actually found oil and gas. I mean, small finds, but there is a dynamic to the world of exploration. I mean, the latest big find is Guyana, where, they had to dig, I think, 45 or 46 wells offshore, each costing $100 million. It is on the 47th well that they struck oil. I have always been of the view, and there are many in the government who share my view, that there are many Guyanas waiting to be found in the Andaman Sea. You get one Guyana, this country will be the lead economy in the world. Not just third or second, it can do wonders for us. But let me tell you what went wrong before 2014. I think there was a unhealthy, maybe not written, but a collusion between the government and parts of the energy sector. Today, and when we inherited 2014, the situation, most of the international oil companies had got fed up of us. They had gone away. We are bringing them back. One of them is signed up with ONGC, BP. They're trying to re-energize and rejuvenate the Bombay High wells. They're very optimistic about it. Petrobras of Brazil is providing technical services to Oil India in order to be able to do seismic surveys. So E&P is going up, biofuels are going up, enough availability, government cut its own revenues to bring down the prices, came down by 13 and 16 rupees on account of two reductions. So today energy, I can tell you, and I have not even spoken about green energy, which is
So this is the roadmap for energy affordability because we are import dependent?
No, we are doing both. You would ideally like to do it all yourself. But if you have had a lost decade between 2006 and 16, you couldn't do it. If I see, there is one thing, it costs a lot of money to dig a well, $4 million onshore, 100 million offshore, but it has a gestation period of 8 to 10 years. What I do today will really start fructifying in 4, if you're very lucky, 4, 5, 6, 8 years of time. You need a lot of money. People have to invest. So we've revised our laws. Our existing legislation was 1948 vintage. It covered both the coal mining and other mining and petroleum leases. We've got a separate law. We put it in the in the public domain for consultation. We took it to Parliament. Parliament, both houses have cleared it, and now even the rules and regulations under that have been cleared. So new legislation, willingness by the government to tweak in order to bring in collaborators, both domestic and foreign, massive moves on biofuels, very good beginnings on green hydrogen. We've floated one of our companies, IOCL, 10,000 tons of green hydrogen tender, and I think it's one of our own companies which won it. So these are good signs.
So a lot of people would like to know, when will the fuel prices come down?
No, I think those who want to know when they'll come down should first applaud the government that they are actually the lowest in the world. The government reduced the excise on 2 occasions, November 22 and May 23. They brought down the price of petrol and diesel. They reduced the central government cess. BJP governments reduced their VAT, and petrol and diesel prices came down by 13 rupees and 16 rupees. So they're down. It's a very valid question. I would be tempted to ask it also. But first of all, I think we need to understand how petrol prices are determined at the bunk. Cost of extraction per barrel at the point of production. Cost, add to that insurance, freight, refining margin, dealer margin, state and central taxes, and that's how you get a price. Today, petrol and diesel prices are amongst the lowest in the world, perhaps the lowest if you compare, produce similar, as they say in trade term, similar products. You make adjustment for exchange rates, etc. And exchange rate is a very important factor because a lot of your 50% of your gas and 80+% of the crude is imported. If crude prices remain as they are, in the range between 60 and $65, my friend, I can tell you, prices will come down. When? I'm not a soothsayer. It's not the government which sets the prices, it's the deregulated sector. Yes, government has a encouraging role to play. Government can felicitate, and a government does that.
That's a good news. Sir, what are the strategic dividends of Operation Sindhu?
Well, in order to really understand Operation Sindhu, you should look at the history of 1947 and beyond. There is one country, one part, and I don't want to make this a foreign policy interview, which has used terror as an instrument of state policy, which has consistently tried to undermine the more successful part. These are countries, 2 countries born from the womb of the same mother. Okay? What happened is, because of the nature of the partition, the people who were involved, I would say, and with a degree of regret, that the full measure of what constitutes an act of terror was not understood, and the governmental response prior to the Modi era, prior to 2014, was characterized by a degree of we don't have choices. In fact, one of my colleagues wrote a book, Choices, and said strategic restraint. Yes, you need strategic restraint. But if you go on misbehaving with someone and that person says he's exercising strategic restraint, your capacity and propensity to misbehave is only going to go up. So what happened here is prior to 2014, I remember that fateful evening when the 26/11 attack took place. I was actually at a private function hosted by a very well-known person. When on the TV you saw Mumbai burning, and on that dinner table at that stage were very important people, including some who are in leadership positions in the opposition, and it was business as usual. And that gentleman, after sitting there for that dinner, went to a party in the farmhouse. I'm not naming anyone because I don't want to make a political interview. Well, I had at that time on the table with me Shri Brijesh Mishra, somebody who used to edit a newspaper, one of the existing editors of the newspaper. Many people to the story. And what did we do after that? What did we do after that? But come the Modi era. So today you made it clear to the world that you are responding to an act of terror. And please understand fully the ramifications of what constitutes terrorism. There's no such thing as a good act of terror or a bad act of terror. I mean, some people will justify it by saying, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. It's a very different context. If you go and kill innocent civilians, I think there is only one answer. That you ought to be taught a lesson, a new template needs to be set, and Operation Sindoor is that. The response was swift. It took 22 minutes and 9 places. Is not my assertion. I know about this press, somebody claiming something. Forget about that. The empirical evidence of terror havens in Muritke, in Bhavalpur, in the Noor Khan Air Base, this has been made available by commercially, put in the public domain by commercially available satellite imagery, which is there for everyone to see. No one can deny it. Is there any imagery on what has happened on our side? Allegation. I don't want to get into that. Let me tell you, if you have a thinking government in Pakistan, I'm not so sure, I'm made in that country. With Modi ji in power, I would think twice before doing something else. Because the entire range of instruments which are at the government's disposal, they have not been used yet, they could be used. And this nuclear blackmail, this, that and the other. I mean, there's a country where does not have electricity. I was about to ask this, has Prime Minister Modi called off the nuclear bluff? Well, I wouldn't say. I think he's sent a very powerful signal that we will not be subjected. And therefore, I don't want to go into more details. You should interview the foreign minister. But on the energy front, they put off their electricity at 8 o'clock in the evening. They don't have electricity. There was a big clamor. You should hammer them a little more. But I think the Prime Minister has both the wisdom and maturity and the sufficiency of the message to anyone else. You indulge in behavior like that, you'll get it back.
Let me take you to a subject which is close to you. How has the delivery, the last mile delivery, improved and empowered women in last 11 years?
Oh, I think it's one of the best stories we've got. Every program of the Prime Minister, all the central schemes have women at the center. Let me start with Swachhta, the building of toilets. But let me start with something even more basic. What was happening before 2014 is India was growing. You can grow a country, but you can also make sure that that growth results in deep-rooted divisions. Let me explain. You can have a GDP going up, but it's not being evenly spread. Women, who not only constitute 50% or more of our population, for the first time found that all the central schemes had them at their center, not in the periphery. That's why when you went in for women's reservation, where you went from women-centered to women-led development. Let me explain it. Swachhta scheme and the building of toilets. Don't go into whether it's 13 crores or 14 crores. That's a significant and admirable number in and of itself. There's something more serious. It's the dignity of the girl child. Young girls, if they don't have a individual household toilet, what we call IHHL, or a neighborhood community or a missing toilet, you go out into the fields in the rural areas. Okay? Number one. So the biggest beneficiaries, I think, in this Swachhta scheme and the building of toilets, it's not about numbers. I think when you convert a government scheme of the government to a scheme of the people and you have a Jan Andolan, you've already done something revolutionary. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, all right, 4 crore homes being built is huge. When you give that number, 4 crores, what, 40 million? 40 million, countries don't have populations of 40 million, I say. A lot of countries in the world, 6, 8, 9 million population. Here you build 40 million homes. But in whose name is the title of the home? Name of the lady of the house. If this is not women empowerment, what it is? The Ujjwala scheme, everybody talks to me about, and I am partly responsible for this narrative. I think we should nuance it. People turn around and tell me, और बड़ा सस्ती गैस दिला रहे हैं. अरे मेरे uncle, it's not that सस्ती gas, it's something more. When we had 2014, we had 14 crore cylinders. But Kartikeya, they were primarily urban allottees. You could get a gas cylinder in a city. So Modi ji did two things. We moved from 14 to 33 crores, virtually saturating the entire population, length and breadth. But when you introduced the Ujjwala scheme in 2016, 80% of those 10 crore plus allottees of Ujjwala are in the rural sector. That is the beauty. You've taken it now, you've used the Prime Minister's scheme to unify, to take development down to the grassroots level. Let me give you a small example. Whenever we used to talk about connectivity, what was the connectivity? Railways is the only one which went into the railway. But today, every state, every district wants an airport, every state wants an international airport. Number of airports has gone up from 74 to 150 something. Let me give you another thing. That was the preserve of the elite. For Udan, where you provided a viability gap funding for sectors or for particular areas. Now people don't even think twice when they book a seat. The railways is still the world's largest public transport provider in the world, the Indian Railways. But you look at the airports, I mean, we have been able, thanks to the Modi development doctrine, you have taken development and the benefits of development, technology. I mean, every Indian, no matter which far-flung, has got a mobile phone. If you look at the increases in internet users, if you look at the education, the startup sector, you know, how many IITs earlier, how many IITs now, how many IIMs then, how many All India institutes then, and how many now. So this is a model of comprehensive transformational development. But at the bottom of it is the most important statistic. You've taken 250 million people out of multidimensional poverty. You have a population of 140 crore, and out of that 25 crore of people who were in multidimensional poverty, the poorest of the poor, they've been lifted out.
In your opinion, what has propelled us to become the fourth largest economy? It has happened.
That is GDP growth. That is GDP growth. But I am saying something more. That GDP growth is important because you've moved from 10th to the 4th position.
Correct.
But it's also important because your growth in the last quarter was 7.4%. And you are expected to do 6.5% plus, whereas all the other economies with which you are competing are at 2%. Of course, if you are a $19 trillion economy and you're growing at 2%, still a lot of money. But the third largest economy, Germany, we will overtake it. Not because we are doing well. They are just now at a much slower rate of growth. So you will be the third largest economy, if the IMF is to be believed, in a year and a half's time from now. If you believe me, I mean, I think it's going to be earlier. But in addition to the growing of the economy and the GDP, you've done something much more. You've taken the fruits and the benefits of that development down to the last person. You see, Antyodaya and Sarvodaya, I mean, this is to take it right down to the last person. So today, the same gas cylinder, which provides ease of living, is now accessed in the farthest of rural areas.
A lot of people wonder that, growth, reform, fiscal prudence, and a big Labharti politics. It has all happened at the same time. How has government been able to...
one is help the other. You should also talk about capex, because little capital expenditure. Listen, when we were facing, by the way, I should say, I mean, behind you I see a screen. Today, one of the highest railway bridges in the world that over the Chenab has been inaugurated.
Absolutely.
What are we discussing? We are discussing, I mean, I have always maintained that democracies, they're the best form of government you can have. They're also the most difficult to run, because you are judged on the basis of your daily performance. Today, thanks to the kind of world we live in, not people who like me or people who support me or people who like or support the government, your record of development related activities is in the public domain on a daily basis. So today people say, oh my God, and any little thing going here and there.
Meeting the deadlines?
Huh?
Meeting the deadlines?
Not meeting the deadline. Doing things before time. There was a time when I remember I was a joint secretary in the defense ministry. I had a minister who used to say, "Hey, iska foundation stone lay kar dete hain." So I had to folded hand say, first get a budgetary provision, find out what timeline, find out how long it will take to contract, to bid, etc. Today, your Kartavya Path, your parliament building, Bharat Mandapam, made in record time. Always there will be cost overruns, minor, because the international price of steel has gone up, cement has gone up, but all within the range. This is what I call development with a sense of renewed focus and total dedication.
It's a generic question, but I thought I must ask this. What has been the Prime Minister's biggest contribution in the last 11 years in reshaping India?
Well, you know, this Prime Minister, you can't talk of the biggest, because he has several mind-boggling. Our reclaiming our civilizational and historical pride. I mean, let me be very clear. There was a time I used to think when I was a civil servant, why are we being defensive about who we are, about Hinduism, Sanatan? Why are we being defensive? Now that pride back. Now visitors come, they visit the Ram Mandir, but I'm just citing one example because it's more current. But more than that, he's taken the economy from the 11th position. It was just before he became, it was around the 11th position, 10th position, and he's brought it to the 4th. But it's not just brought it to the 4th. It's not that I've run this race and I'm exhausted. This is momentum ongoing. You will be the third largest economy. Well before 2029, India will not only be the third largest economy, but will be the third largest economy, leaving the 4th and the 5th behind by a distance. I mean, that's my take on it. When I used to talk about a $5 trillion economy, people used to say, "Ye pata nahi kahan se aa jate hai foreign service wale bahar ke." No. Today, $5 trillion is not even a consideration. Today, all of us are talking about $7 and $10 trillion. You became 4.3. From 2014, you doubled your GDP from 2 trillion to 4.3 trillion. So, reclaiming our civilizational
heritage,
pride, heritage is there. Varanasi, God knows how many thousand years is old, and you're combining it with that. That is the beauty and the greatness of India. Your GDP is growing, but it's not GDP. You're giving content and meaning to those who had been left out. You know, the Sustainable Development Goals, which the UN started, they said, what is the purpose? To take development to the farthest. Modi ji did that before the Sustainable Development Goals came into being. Those Sustainable Development Goals started in 2016 or something, if I remember, I'm not mistaken, or 15, 16. Modi ji had done it in 2014. All his schemes, you see, he got elected in May 2014. By 2015, June there, most of them had been rolled out, and in all incorporate the vision of what the SDGs in mind, but we have gone further. You take the fruits of development right to those who need it the most. Well, most vulnerable, the street vendors. During the pandemic, if you were working in a news studio, you would still get paid your salary. A civil servant would get his salary. A person working on the fields would still, even in a semi-feudal system, will get paid. That poor chap who used to go and borrow every day from, greedy money lenders and come and sell because the economy had come. I don't know how many people have benefited from the street vendor scheme. 68 lakhs. And it's a scheme of micro inclusion. You borrow 10,000, return it, take another loan for 20,000 and go up. And they are all now in the happy situation of having become beneficiaries of the other government schemes.
So I asked this question to you because at the time of COVID, you did a 4-hour, if I'm not wrong, Facebook Live. During Operation Sindoor, fake news and false narratives really became a headache.
They will. In any operation, they will.
They did. So is it going to be an important issue for us to tackle the way during the time of COVID when you
see?
did
Let's
this
first of all, there is something called narrative. There's something called nuanced narrative. There's something called false narrative. There is also something called PSY operations. I think we are too close to the event. I have full confidence that, including my distinguished friends in the fourth estate who went a little overboard, that whoever did that overboard going will realize where you have to correct, etc. And I can tell you, you have a very good story. The military operation was a spectacular success. The narrative came in, the individuals, this, that and the other. Fortunately, I don't have responsibility for those portfolios, but it will be corrected.
Let me bring you to a subject which is close to you. In last 10, 15, 20, 30 years, Vidarbh used to be part of a regular coverage whereby, there would be a news story that so many farmers committed suicide. So how has ethanol blending prevented it? And how was this thought about?
First of all, if you don't hear about, I don't want to say that the problem, agrarian distress issue has been solved. I'm not saying that. But today, what the Prime Minister has done for the agricultural sector is good. But today, I'm only going to answer before we conclude this part. We have given over 1 lakh crores to the Indian farmer thanks to the ethanol blending program. I'm merely saying that. Baki, higher prices for MSP, the kind of false narrative, you're talking about false narrative on Operation Sindoor. What about the false narrative on the domestic agricultural sector? I've never come across, people sat with me in the cabinet and when the farm laws came, said, Kamal hai, badhiya ho gaya. 3 days later, went topsy-turvy. You know whom I'm referring to, I won't take the name. Believe me, with this Prime Minister, 11 years of solid development at the center and that work he had done in Gujarat, he's been in the governance over 22, 23 years if I'm not mistaken. Today, the country has confidence. Our development is anchored in firm policies. During the COVID, I skipped this because we were going too fast. We had many choices. A lot of people said, "Arey, ye bhi bant do, wo bhi bant do." Wo bhi kiya. I mean, something like 81 crore people are getting handouts under the Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. But we chose, instead of handouts, we chose the method of capital expenditure. Capital expenditure will, essentially in infrastructure sector, capital expenditure will result in money not going wasted, not pure consumption, and yet you can feed your consumption. The fact that your energy sector is doing well, that is how you're able to, because of the revenue collected. By the way, my OMCs provide about 19% of the country's revenue. That's why you can carry out all these schemes which I mentioned.
And my last question, before we close in the interview, how has been your experience of an aspirational district? You have been minister.
I am very, very, very fortunate. I had adopted a district called Sonbhadra, and when I was given that district, it had a ranking of 112 out of 112. Today it's in the top 2 or 3, and sometimes goes up, comes down, but it's in the top 2 or 3. And I'm very privileged to be associated with it.
Congratulations and thank you for speaking to us. Thank you, sir.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Then tell us, what according to you is overhyped in the world of advertising and marketing? Too much is made about it, but it's not what it's made it out to be. and hence is quite blunt.
I've been seeing and hearing it a lot. The over simplification and over hyper targeting. I mean, that's one thing which I believe is, I think, way too much. If you look at consumers, like, most of the consumers in a certain particular geography will have a similar kind of need. Of course, customization is needed, but then if you go hyper customization, then what you are saying that you are unnecessarily laddening your resources with creating multiple tools, multiple creatives, which I think is not needed. Like, at the end of it, consumers are same, their psychography is same. So if you have figured that piece out, I think that's good enough. And hence I feel that, like, the moment you go for hyper customization or hyper personalization, look at the big brands. They have not been built that way. The hyper customization, hyper individual ads.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Hello and welcome. You are watching News9. I'm Krishna Kumar. Straight to the top story at this hour. The Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka is under fire from the opposition over its handling of the RCB victory celebration event that ended in a tragic stampede. The BJP upped the ante this morning with the protests outside the state secretariat Vidhana Soudha, demanding the resignation of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar. Meanwhile, new details seem to be emerging on a daily basis in the Chinnaswamy stampede case. In the latest, it has come to light that a security warning had been issued a day before the event. It's now emerged that the tragic stampede could have been averted had earlier warnings from the Vidhana Soudha Security Division been heeded. The Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCP, in charge of Vidhana Soudha Security, had issued a clear warning to the Department of Personal and Administrative Reforms, or DPAR, citing a shortage of security personnel and the need for more time to make adequate arrangements. Despite that, DPAR's Secretary Satyavati reportedly gave the green signal for the event. Instead, there was a media statement from her on the 4th of June directing people to go to the stadium, further reflecting a dismissive approach to the warnings that have been issued. The incident is now pointing to serious negligence on the part of DPAR Secretary Satyavati, whose decisions are now under public and administrative scrutiny. Meanwhile, under fire from all quarters, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has raised the ex gratia compensation for victims' families from 10 lakh rupees to 25 lakh rupees. The decision follows the public outcry over the June 4th tragedy that claimed 11 lives. RCB, the team, has also pledged 10 lakh rupees per family and launched the RCB Cares Fund for injured fans. And there have been major upheavals in the Karnataka State Cricket Association, or KSCA. President of the association, Raghuram Bhatt, has said that resignation letters submitted by Secretary A. Shankar and Treasurer E.S. Jairam have been accepted by the managing committee. He said it was important to accept the resignation as it has already come into the public domain. Secretary A. Shankar and Treasurer E.S. Jairam took moral responsibility for the tragedy that unfolded. They said that they had submitted their resignations on Thursday night to KSCA President Raghuram Bhatt. Meanwhile, CID officials visited the office of the KSCA for a probe into the incident, even as heads rolled in the state government, with the Chief Minister sacking Govind Raj, his political secretary, and shifting the Additional Director General of Police as well.
ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ
The two resignation letters have been accepted by the managing committee. That's the decision that we have taken.
Any further that the decision what need to be taken to run the cricket in KCS?
That is the decision we will take, sir, in another day I will take. Today important is to accept it because it is already come in public domain.
The leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha and Congress party's leader Rahul Gandhi has intensified his attack on the Election Commission over transparency in the election process related to the outcome of the Maharashtra State Assembly elections of last year. Rahul urged the Election Commission to release consolidated digital voter rolls and post 5 p.m. CCTV footage from Maharashtra's polling booths. Earlier, the poll panel dismissed Rahul Gandhi's allegations of match fixing in the 2024 Maharashtra Assembly elections. The Election Commission termed it vague and completely absurd, issuing a point-by-point rebuttal to the Congress MP's voter fraud allegations. Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi, in an opinion piece in one of the leading daily newspapers, had alleged that the voter lists were inflated with fake voters in last year's Maharashtra Assembly elections. The Election Commission dismissed Rahul Gandhi's claims, stating that the entire voting process was conducted transparently with polling agents from all political parties present at the scene.
भारत की सेना को लेकर राहुल गांधी जी ने और उनकी पार्टी ने की, उसके बाद उनको पूरी श्योरिटी है कि बिहार के चुनाव वो हारने वाले हैं। अब चुनाव हारने वाले हैं तो बहाना पहले से बनाना है, इसीलिए इलेक्शन कमीशन पर निशाना है, क्योंकि परिवार और अपने आप को बचाना है और एलिबाई और एक्सक्यूज बनाना है। ये जैसे महाराष्ट्र में चुनाव हारे तो पोस्ट इलेक्शन एक्सक्यूज बनाया कि देखो महाराष्ट्र में रिगिंग हो गई इसलिए हम हार गए, अब बिहार में हारने वाले हैं तो ये प्री इलेक्शन एक्सक्यूज बना रहे हैं। जहां तक महाराष्ट्र की बात है तो इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया ने एक नहीं अनेकों बार इनके हर सवाल पर फैक्चुअल डेटाबेस तथ्यात्मक जवाब दिया है, परंतु राहुल गांधी को लगता है कि उनका पारिवारिक तंत्र जो है वो संवैधानिक तंत्र के ऊपर है, इसीलिए जब ये चुनाव हारते हैं तब तो चुनाव आयोग में इनको गलतियां नजर आती है। और यही चुनाव आयोग के द्वारा उसी समय पर किया गया झारखंड चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, इसी समय पर जम्मू कश्मीर का चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, कर्नाटका का चुनाव एकदम ठीक था, तेलंगाना में चुनाव एकदम परफेक्ट था, हिमाचल में भी एकदम परफेक्ट। हाँ, गुजरात और महाराष्ट्र और हरियाणा में गड़बड़ हो जाती है। तो इसका मतलब ये है कि यदि मैं चुनाव जीतूं तब तो चुनाव आयोग ठीक, अगर मैं कोर्ट केस जीतूं तब तो जुडिशरी ठीक, वरना मैं इन सबको गालियां दूं, विदेश जाकर भी गालियां दूं।
राहुल जी ने अपने लेख में जो सवाल पूछे हैं वो बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हैं कि 5 साल में 31 लाख नए वोट जुड़े महाराष्ट्र में 2019 और 2024 के बीच में, लेकिन 5 महीने में 41 लाख नए वोट कैसे जुड़ गए लोकसभा और विधानसभा के बीच में? नंबर 1। नंबर 2, आप अपना प्रोविजनल टर्नआउट जो 58.22% बताते हो शाम को 5 बजे और फाइनल टर्नआउट आप 66% बता देते हो, 8% का ये फर्क कैसे? हमने कहा चलिए वीडियोग्राफी जारी करिए, सार्वजनिक करिए, क्योंकि जब वोटिंग चल रही होती है तो वीडियोग्राफी मैंडेटरी होती है, कंपलसरी होती है। आज तक वीडियोग्राफी नहीं की, उल्टा नियम बदल दिए कि वीडियोग्राफी अब नहीं जारी करेंगे। हमने तीसरा सवाल पूछा कि जो 12,000 बूथ हैं 85 विधानसभा क्षेत्रों के महाराष्ट्र में जहां भाजपा लोकसभा हारी थी, उन्हीं 12,000 बूथ पे ये नए वोट आए और भाजपा विधानसभा जीत गई। तो हमने ये मांग रखी कि आप जो मतदाता सूची है उसको सार्वजनिक पटल पर रखिए ताकि कोई भी नागरिक मतदाता सूची का निरीक्षण कर सकता है कि उसमें कितनी बढ़ोतरी हो रही है, कितनी घटोतरी हो रही है, क्या हो रहा है, वो सब मालूम होना चाहिए, पारदर्शिता होनी चाहिए। आज तक नहीं हुआ।
कि राहुल गांधी इन्होंने बिहार में अपनी हार मान ली है। मैं हमेशा ये कहता हूं कि जब तक राहुल गांधी जमीन पर नहीं उतरेंगे, तथ्यों को जब तक वो नहीं समझेंगे और जब तक अपने आप से झूठ बोलेंगे, अपने आप को झूठा आश्वासन और झूठा दिलासा देंगे, तब तक उनकी पार्टी कभी जीत नहीं सकती। उनको जागना ही पड़ेगा, यथार्थ समझना ही पड़ेगा ने तो ऐसी बेसिर पैर बातें वो हमेशा करते रहेंगे, हमेशा झूठ बोलते रहेंगे, हमेशा मतदाताओं का अपमान करते रहेंगे। ये राहुल गांधी ने महाराष्ट्र के मतदाताओं का जो अपमान किया है, इसके लिए मैं उनका निषेध करता हूं।
Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah will arrive in Madurai in Tamil Nadu on the night of the 7th of June and begin his engagements the next morning with a darshan at the Meenakshi Amman temple. But the big political moment will unfold at 4 p.m. today when he addresses over 10,000 BJP functionaries from across the state. Sources say Shah is likely to throw his weight behind State President Nayanar Nagendran as the face of the BJP in Tamil Nadu and deliver a no-nonsense message to the party cadre: unite or step aside. Madurai has been chosen for its strategic location, a critical hub for BJP's mobilization in the south, and the visit is also being seen as a show of unity and strength with the 2026 Tamil Nadu State Assembly elections now less than 10 months away. The district magistrates of Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal, Kakching and Bishnupur districts in Manipur have issued prohibitory orders this Sunday. Earlier, the Manipur government ordered the suspension of internet and mobile data services in 5 districts for the next 5 days beginning today. The decision was taken in view of the violent protests and clashes between protesters and security forces in Imphal on Saturday evening. The renewed unrest started over reports of the arrest of leaders from the Meitei organization Arambai Tenggol. Citizens have been requested to cooperate with the orders, which include restrictions on gatherings. The assembly of 4 or more persons has been restricted in Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal and Kakching districts. The orders have been issued in view of the prevailing law and order situation and its deterioration. Meanwhile, a total curfew has been imposed in the Bishnupur district effective from 11 p.m. on Saturday night until further orders. The curfew relaxation order previously issued has now been cancelled due to the current situation.
This is a state where we are having 80,000 forces. It's very strange. I'm telling you, forget about More and Tignopal, what has happened. I'm coming down to Imphal. Okay. NIA, we have charge sheet against Kanan Singh, and Kanan Singh was apprehended with another 4 persons. Okay. But we knew that he is from Arambai Tenggol and he is the chief commander of operational group, chief of army of Arambai Tenggol. That means whole mighty group will come to the road. And then you are taking Kanan Singh when having 80,000 forces in 2 gypsies, 2 police vehicles to airport to take him away from Imphal. And they were surrounded at Kwakaithel, just 4 kilometers short of airport, by all the mighty groups, and they were firing, and of course a few people, they were injured. I'm telling you, this should not have been happened. This should not have happened. If you are taking Kanan Singh, you know there are charges against him. Then you are having sufficient force. You could have dominated that road from governor's house up to airport. That 5 or 6 kilometers is nothing to dominate. And you have left it that okay, we can carry it with 2 gypsies. And just see at Lamlang Bazaar, I am not mentioning whose, but it was a security bus which was totally burnt. This should have definitely taken into account the repercussion what will happen after Kanan Singh has been apprehended and other 4 persons they were apprehended, and also to take them away from the state. There was nothing new in taking them out from the state. They are being taken to Guwahati, they are being taken to Delhi, that's for interrogation and all. That's a different issue. But you should have taken proper precaution. And even if it has happened yesterday night also, you see, the whole mighty, again another issue, the whole mighty group, they are now protesting. Another issue has started in Imphal. And that shows that during President's rule, we are having so many forces, we are failing in our security duties to dominate and to cover our areas. And that also Imphal East, Imphal West, Kakching and these are Bishnupur and these areas where we are having sufficient forces. What has gone wrong with our security apparatus and the deployment of forces, and to think, just to plan how to take action once you apprehend a
Telangana's Congress party-led government has officially expanded its cabinet, inducting 3 new ministers in a move seen as a push towards inclusive governance and political balance. G. Vivek Venkataswamy, Adluri Lakshman Kumar and Vakiti Srihari were sworn in at the Raj Bhavan this morning by Governor Jishnudev Verma. Chief Minister A. Revanth Reddy, senior leaders and lawmakers were present for this ceremony, and this is the first cabinet expansion since the Congress party took power in December 2023. With these inductions, the Telangana cabinet now has 12 ministers, still leaving 6 berths vacant. The new entrants are seen as key representatives of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and backward class communities. The appointments come amidst growing pressure for wider representation and are expected to strengthen the Congress's administrative reach ahead of key policy rollouts. Separately, Congress party MLA Ramchandar Nayak was also named the Deputy Speaker of the Telangana Legislative Assembly. Now, a day before his government marks its first anniversary in its 3rd term, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the ruling BJP-led National Democratic Alliance has redefined women-led development in its 11 years in power. He cited a number of welfare programs which he noted have benefited women immensely. Various initiatives from ensuring dignity through Swachh Bharat to financial inclusion via Jan Dhan accounts. The focus has been on empowering the women, said the Prime Minister. If Ujjwala Yojana brought smoke-free kitchens running on gas cylinders to the poor households, Mudra loans enabled lakhs of women entrepreneurs to pursue dreams on their own terms. Houses under the women's name in Prime Minister Awas Yojana too have made a remarkable impact, he added. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao ignited a national movement to protect the girl child. The Prime Minister shared a thread of a citizenship engagement platform which listed benefits brought to women by several government schemes like boosting tap water connections. In the run-up to the 11th anniversary of the NDA government at the centre, the Prime Minister has been highlighting his government's work for different sections of society, including the poor, farmers and the youth. The Prime Minister giving an overview of how his leadership and the NDA has redefined Nari Shakti in India through various schemes targeting different sections of women in different sections of the society, and talking about the final outcome and the benefits that have been achieved. A tragic accident on Bengaluru's busy Hebbal Ring Road has claimed the life of a two-wheeler rider. At around 11:30 a.m. this morning, a BMTC electric bus belonging to the Hennur depot hit a scooter carrying a family of 4 near Kalyan Nagar. The impact was so severe, it crushed the rider's head under the wheel. His wife and 2 children were also there on the vehicle. Officials say that the situation could have been even worse. Just a little more force and 3 lives may have been lost. Moving on. India has recorded a dramatic drop in extreme poverty according to the latest estimates released by the World Bank. The country's extreme poverty rate has fallen from over 27.1% in the year 2011-2012 to just over 5%, 5.3% in 2022-23. This decline translates to nearly 269 million people moving above the international poverty threshold in just over a decade. In absolute terms, the number of people living in extreme poverty has reduced from 344 million to just 75 million. The assessment is based on the $3 per day poverty line measured in 2021 purchasing power parity. 5 states, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh, once accounted for 65% of India's extreme poor. These same states have now contributed to nearly 2/3 of the national reduction in poverty. There has been significant improvement in both rural and urban regions. Rural poverty has dropped from 18.4% to just 2.8%. Urban poverty has fallen from 10.7% to just 1.1% over the same period. Even at the older $2.15 poverty line, India has shown progress. The poverty rate dropped from 16.2% to 2.3%, with the number of extremely poor falling from 206 million to nearly 34 million. The World Bank also reported progress in multi-dimensional poverty, which includes indicators beyond income like health, education and living standards. India's multi-dimensional poverty index has declined sharply from over 53% in 2005-2006 to 15.5% in 2022-23. The report attributes much of the success to major government schemes like Prime Minister Awas Yojana for housing, Prime Minister Ujjwala Yojana for clean cooking fuel, Jan Dhan Yojana for financial inclusion and Ayushman Bharat for healthcare access. These programs, supported by platforms like direct benefit transfer, digital banking and rural infrastructure development, have helped deliver services directly to the poorest households, reducing leakages and improving outcomes. Experts say that these figures reflect not only economic growth but also targeted governance and underline the importance of continuing such efforts to reach the last mile. The flood situation in Assam improved marginally on Saturday as major rivers, including the Brahmaputra, were showing a receding trend. Still, over 117 villages remain submerged under floodwaters in Assam's Morigaon. According to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, floodwater has affected over 5.6 lakh people across 19 districts in the state. This year's floods have claimed 23 lives, with 5 more deaths attributed to landslides. The Brahmaputra river is flowing above the danger level in Dhubri, Kopili, in Dharamtul, River Barak at Katakal, in Hilakandi and Kushiara in Sribhumi. A landslide happened in the Roopnagar area of Guwahati early on Saturday and a person has been reported missing. Now, Colombia's presidential candidate Miguel Uribe Turbe was shot and seriously wounded during a political rally in Colombia's capital, Bogota. The incident occurred in a park where he was meeting supporters. A man allegedly approached him from behind and opened fire, striking him in the back. Several unverified videos circulating on social media show Miguel Uribe lying on the ground with blood pouring from his body, surrounded by panicked supporters. In the clips, people can be seen screaming, calling for help and lifting the wounded politician in their arms. He was reported to be in a critical condition. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has condemned the attempted assassination via a post on social media platform X.
la discapacidad que tiene. Segundo, salud mental. El principal problema en Bogotá, en Colombia. De la discapacidad que tiene. Segundo, salud mental. El principal problema en Bogotá, en Colombia. De la discapacidad que tiene. Segundo, salud mental. El principal problema en Bogotá, en Colombia. De la discapacidad que tiene. En Bogotá, en Colombia. En Bogotá, en Colombia. En Bogotá, en Colombia.
US President Donald Trump has ordered the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops in LA of California. The troops will remain for 60 days or until the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, decides otherwise, according to an announcement from the White House. The immigration crackdown has triggered protests and clashes in Los Angeles, which entered the second day. The protests erupted after U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE carried out large-scale operations across Los Angeles, arresting dozens of undocumented migrants. 44 people were reportedly arrested on Friday. LA is a Democrat stronghold with a large immigrant population. And Saturday saw at least two major protests, one in Paramount and another in downtown LA. Trump's order to deploy National Guard troops follows the second day of citywide protests, and California's Governor Gavin Newsom criticized Trump's action as purposefully inflammatory. Several footages from the protest site showed federal agents in military-style gear using force to control the crowd. Critics argued that the immigration crackdown has affected legal residents as well. ICE said that it had arrested 2,000 undocumented people per day nationwide over the past week, including 118 in Los Angeles. A deadly night in Kharkiv. Russia launched a wave of drone and missile attacks on the eastern Ukrainian city, killing several and injuring over 60 people. The strikes came amidst fresh tensions as Ukraine rejected Russian claims of stalling prisoner swaps. This report tells you more.
Russia attacked the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv at night and in the evening with drones, missiles, and guided bombs, killing several people and injuring more than 60, local officials said on Saturday. Kharkiv is one of Ukraine's largest cities and is located about 20 miles from the Russian border. It has been under constant Russian shelling during more than 3 years of war. The city's mayor said multi-story and private residential buildings, as well as educational and infrastructure facilities, were attacked. In the evening, Russian aircraft attacked again with guided bombs. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the attacks were not retaliatory, but intended for the, quote, complete destruction of life. Separately, Russian officials said a Ukrainian drone attack in the Moscow region wounded 2 people. Meanwhile, Ukraine denied Russian allegations on Saturday that it had indefinitely postponed prisoner swaps, accusing Moscow of playing games. At a second round of peace talks in Istanbul, the two sides agreed to swap more prisoners and return the bodies of 12,000 dead soldiers. However, Kremlin aide Vladimir Medinsky said on Saturday Kyiv had unexpectedly postponed the exchanges indefinitely. This was denied by an official with Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, who said Moscow should return to constructive work. A Ukrainian drone attack last weekend likely damaged around 10% of Russia's strategic bomber fleet and hit some of the aircraft as they are being prepared for strikes on Ukraine, a senior German military official said in a YouTube podcast reviewed by Reuters ahead of its publication on Saturday.
And with that, it's a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9 English News.
A deep dive into what matters to you the most. Angles you won't find anywhere else. News that impacts your life.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9 English News as it should be.
Hello and welcome. You are watching News9. I'm Krishna Kumar. Straight to the top story at this hour. The Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka is under fire from the opposition over its handling of the RCB victory celebration event that ended in a tragic stampede. The BJP upped the ante this morning with the protests outside the state secretariat Vidhana Soudha demanding the resignation of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar. Meanwhile, new details seem to be emerging on a daily basis in the Chinnaswamy stampede case. In the latest, it has come to light that a security warning had been issued a day before the event. It's now emerged that the tragic stampede could have been averted had earlier warnings from the Vidhana Soudha Security Division been heeded. The Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCP, in charge of Vidhana Soudha Security, had issued a clear warning to the Department of Personnel and Administrative Reforms, or DPAR, citing a shortage of security personnel and the need for more time to make adequate arrangements. Despite that, DPAR's Secretary Satyavati reportedly gave the green signal for the event. Instead, there was a media statement from her on the 4th of June directing people to go to the stadium, further reflecting a dismissive approach to the warnings that have been issued. The incident is now pointing to serious negligence on the part of DPAR Secretary Satyavati, whose decisions are now under public and administrative scrutiny. Meanwhile, under fire from all quarters, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has raised the ex gratia compensation for victims' families from 10 lakh rupees to 25 lakh rupees.